Indian Air Force conduct massive nighttime military drill in Ladakh region to show off strength against China. US military will stand with India against China in any situations, says the US government. After India and the US, Australia is going to ban Chinese apps. The US has said on Monday by a top officials from the White House, Meadows, Chief of Staff of US.
The message is clear. Our military might stand strong and will continue to stand strong, whether it's in relationship to a conflict between India and China or anywhere else.
All right. He said this after deploying the 2 US Navy aircraft carrier to South China Sea to boost US presence in near China's borders, as the tension between India and China were rising. While China is claiming almost 21 countries' territory in the South China Sea, it claims almost whole of South China Sea itself, according to the Chinese prehistorical period. While the India and China border talks with both their ministers on Monday were going on about the Galwan Valley situation in Ladakh, both countries agreed to pull their troops for just 1 kilometer from their respective LAC to their LAC. But India is far from its LAC than China. As China stands very close to the LAC, they can reach into Indian lands in minutes than India can stop China. As even the pullback has happened, Indian Air Force conducted nighttime drill in Ladakh with its MiG-29 jets, Su-30 jets, Apache helicopters and heavy lift helicopters in the mountainous terrains amid the troops' pullback. Indian military will stand in high alert, ready to face any surprise move by the Chinese if it does. The retired Indian Air Force Vice Marshal said to an Indian news media that India is fully prepared anytime to face any Chinese surprise moves. Also, at the same time, China conducted a daytime military artillery exercise in Tibet yesterday. Looks like both are still showing off their powers, and the situation seems to be same as before, maybe. While India has already banned Chinese apps in India, US and Australia are following India's path. Yesterday, the Defense Minister of US, Mike Pompeo, said US is looking into banning TikTok, WeChat and other Chinese apps in the US for national security reasons. Also, Australia is now thinking on doing this. Meanwhile, TikTok has said it will move out of Hong Kong due to the situations in Hong Kong, and they don't have any ties or sharing any data with PLA or the Chinese government. Even after India's ban on Chinese apps and the strict review of Chinese investment into India, Chinese businessmen are looking into invest in India heavily. Also in the mid-April, India Stock Exchange disclosure revealed Chinese People's Bank of China, which is the central bank of China, has 1% share in HDFC Bank and small shares in other Indian companies. So what do you think of US military fully standing with India against China in any situations? Is it good or bad for banning Chinese apps and scrutinizing Chinese investment in India, US and Australia?
India can seize the opportunity to provide an alternative investment hub for American companies which are downgrading their operation in China. US Ambassador Kenny Jester said on Thursday, while he pitched for bilateral FTA as the next big-ticket item. Delivering his first policy speech since taking over as the ambassador to India, Jester identified 5 pillars to take Indo-US partnership forward: stronger defense ties, strategic economic relationships, energy environment, inclusive development and cooperation in the region. US Envoy in particularly emphasized on its India's role into Indo-Pacific region and opportunities in the economic partnership. India needs to take a strategic view of the economic relationship so as a roadmap for FTA could be laid. and pointing out America's first and Make in India are not incompatible. Justice said rather than investing in each other's market will be mutually beneficial. It will increase economic interactions and volume of trade, lead to the collaboration on emerging technologies and create jobs in both the countries, he noted. But let me go through further and suggest that this is the time to put a strategic lens in our or on our economic relationship, just we have done with our defense relationship, he said. The speech was organized by the Canaries India, the India chapter of noted US think tank. Chester informed that a number of US companies have reported increasingly difficulties in conducting businesses in the large market in the region, as is China. Accordingly, some companies are downgrading their operations there, while others are looking with great interest at the alternative markets. India can seize the strategic opportunity through trade and investment to become an alternative hub for US business in the Indo-Pacific region. Bilateral trade has increased from approximately $20 billion in 2001 to $115 billion in 2016. The US envoy, however, expressed the concerns about the persistent state deficits, including the one the US has with India. He said the US want to work with India to expeditiously resolve the trade and investment dispute. Referring to the defense ties, Justice said, perhaps in the next year we can announce some major agreements like the fighter jets, advanced helicopters, unmanned ground vehicles, and intelligence exchanges. He in fact suggested taking Indo-US military cooperations to entirely to a new level, reciprocally posting liaisons officers at each other's operational or combat commands. When asked about the China-US ties, Justin noted, we are interested in a constructive relationship, but if they engage in the predatory economic policies and other things, there would be no reactions, or will be reactions. So what do you think of US putting India ahead of China, and US wants India to take the opportunity to avoid China out of the world of US? US and China has to look at India's new development. India may soon be flying the regional routes on the board a Made in India aircraft. The Director General of Civil Aviation has allowed the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited or the HAL manufactured Dornier 228 to be used for the civilian flights. The 19-seater aircraft has till now been used by the Defence Force of India and is the first plane to be made in country for the commercial flights. The DGCA has been given the typical or the type of certifications to this aircraft and also given the certificate of the airworthiness to HAL's Dornier 228. Now HAL can sell this plane to airlines in India and it can be used by them for the regional flights under the government's new scheme, which can give some special incentives maybe for the operators using this plane, apart from the airlines in India, said some officials. HAL may also look to sell at these planes for civil uses in the neighboring countries such as Nepal and Sri Lanka. The HAL describes its 19-seater Dornier 228 as a highly versatile multi-purpose light transport aircraft. It has been developed specially to meet the manifold requirements of the utility and the computer transport, third-level services and the air taxi operations, Coast Guard duties and maritime surveillance. The non-pressurized planes has the maximum cruise speed of 428 kmph and a range of 700 km. It is capable of night flying. HAL successfully carried out test flights of this plane at the Kanpur airport this month, after which DGCA gave the required nod for it to be used in the civil side of India. HAL has a transport aircraft division in Kanpur since 1960. It has a core competence in the manufacturing, maintenance, modification, and upgrade of the light transport aircraft and the trainer aircraft for the both domestic and the international markets. The division also carries out the maintenance, repair, and the overhaul of the aircraft. The division has also commenced manufacturing of the civil variant of the Dornier 228 aircraft. The HAL website says, while the DGCA has now allowed Dornier 228 to be used for the commercial flights, HAL has said It can also be used for the pollution prevention and executive transport. So what do you think of India's new Made in India aircraft for using commercial flights for Indian passengers? Will it be boosted by the Indian government, or it will give an international competence with the US and the China typically? Post your comments below, and if you like this video, please give a thumbs up and follow us on social networks and subscribe to our channel. And thanks for watching. This is WEC Daily. Think big, think different. Bye.